Chapter 7. Nick Arrives. Richard sat in the 99 Impreza, impatiently drumming the wheel. The overhead sun poured into an urban canyon formed by two glass-clad high-rises on either side of the street, concentrating its heat and creating a surreal yellow glow. A weak breeze moved through the canyon. The dusty street trees trembled listlessly in response as Richard's thoughts were tossed and blown by the whirlwind in his head. He eagerly anticipated his special delivery from Indiana. He'd played the scene over and over in his mind for weeks, concentrating on Nick, wishing he could make him appear by sheer force of will. Would he look like his picture on the pen pal site? Younger? Older? Somewhere in between? Would he be beaten down and drawn from months behind bars? Or bright-eyed and healthy? What would he be wearing? What do they give ex-cons to wear anyway? Richard examined his face in the rearview mirror, saw the years reflected in the leathery countenance staring back at him. He gave a tug here and a pull there, but gravity and attrition would not have any of it, as he sagged back to his old self. He fumbled in the pocket of his silk aloha shirt for a pell-mell and lit it, dangling the smoke out the window. He thought of Nick's photo and letters, and in the midst of his apprehension he suddenly felt sanguine. He just knew there was something special about Nick, felt it immediately when he first read his bio on the Get to Know an Inmate site last year. Looking for a pen pal. Hello, my name is Nick. I'm 38 years old from Fayetteville, Arkansas. I have just a few months left on my sentence for doing something I truly am sorry for. What happened that night in some crazy bar fight so many years ago just isn't me now. My stint in jail has given me time to re-examine my life and try to be a better person. I am loyal, trustworthy, kind, and a whole lot of fun to be with. I like country music, old style, not that modern stuff, a good book, and a good conversation. I'm into new things, but I'm also a traditionalist at heart. I am close to my family, though they sometimes don't understand me as well as I'd like them to. I'm looking for someone to open up to and really get to know. I'd like to get together after my release date if that sounds interesting to you. Thanks, Nick. Richard checked his watch, flicked the cigarette to the street, and spotted Nick's bus, hissing and lurching as it pulled into its designated spot in front of the terminal. He held his breath and scanned the crowd. People of all descriptions disembarked, but he had Nick's face and features cold memorized. Not him. Too old. Nope, not him. Oh, definitely not him. Not him either. Too young, too fat, too dumb. Finally, he recognized Nick, warily descending the steps and sauntering onto the sidewalk carrying a blue duffel bag. He was a little older and rougher than Richard remembered from his profile pics, but otherwise it was a near-perfect match. He looks like one mean son of a bitch, but my God, he's frigging beautiful. Nick Troxel, woohoo! Nicky! Nick startled at the sound of his name, squinting into the crowd. Richard waved again wildly, a mile-wide grin across his face. It's so good to finally meet you, he said, running up to Nick and shaking him by both shoulders. Right this way, young man, you're coming with me. As they pulled away, Richard glanced over at Nick. You must be exhausted being on that bus for how many days? Nick stared out the window, slow to answer. It was the bomb. They drove past a Dairy Queen with cars lined up at the drive-thru. A group of teens on the sidewalk waved large placards beckoning motorists to have their cars washed in support of the football team. Empty lots with enormous for sale signs flew by. Tents and tarp structures stood clumped like mushrooms along the side of the road. A road sign read, "Thanks for visiting, come again," indicating they'd left the confines of Morley proper, followed by another declaring, "Relman, 3 miles." Now mature flowering cherry and big leaf maple trees created a canopy of cool shade. Tall masonry walls protected homes on the other side from road dust, traffic noise, and unwanted entry into neighborhoods christened Jensen Estates, Arranmore Glen, and Deer Creek Villas. Richard pulled off the main road and onto a well-manicured avenue, past an illuminated stone wall tastefully announcing their entrance to Briar Cliff Downs. Uplighting cast a cheery glow onto the plantings and structures, providing a sense of security in place without being glaring about it. Richard pulled into a wide driveway just as the garage door was opening, seemingly of its own volition. Welcome home. Richard reached for Nick's duffel, but Nick grabbed at it first. Is that all your gear? Don't worry, we'll get you outfitted tomorrow. I've got one quick cut and set in the morning, then we'll make a day of it. Lunch on me, then a little shopping at Relman Square. Later, I'd love to introduce you around if you're not too exhausted by then. Just throw your bag anywhere, dear. Let me show you my humble home. Nick followed Richard into the hallway. On every wall were displayed framed photographs of Richard as a younger man. Some showed him laughing and drinking at festive occasions. In others, he wore kitschy theatrical garb acting a scene, or in dance costumes, in contorted postures reminiscent of Greek statuary. This you? In the flesh, or at least it was me. Now this is me, and the flesh, alas, is weak. Richard slipped off his shoes and hinted for Nick to do the same. They silently padded on the soft, pristine white carpet across the living room and through a narrow door on the far side leading to a smaller study. By the window, overlooking the skillfully curated yard, stood a white Steinway baby grand, and in the crook of the piano was a tall birdcage. Inside was perched a white pigeon. Let me introduce you to your other roommate. Richard offered his finger through the already open door, and the bird gamely hopped on. This is Baby Bird. Baby Bird, meet Nick. Nick immediately noticed the pigeon wore a colorful tie-dyed vest. What's that? Oh, that's his flight suit. Don't you love it? He described at length how Birdie enjoyed wearing the stretchy harness, which doubled as a bird diaper for playing inside the house with a leash hook in the back for outside. He's been in it for a couple of hours now. He's probably ready to be changed. Nick grimaced, trying to hide his repulsion at the idea of a bird wearing a diaper, let alone changing one, but said nothing. And here's your room. If there's anything at all that you want to change or get rid of, just toss it into the hallway. Nick sat elbows on knees at the edge of the bed. Say, listen, I just wanted to say, I really appreciate your taking me in like this. I know you're going out on a limb for me, kind of sight unseen. Richard sat next to Nick. I'm not exactly a prize package myself, this old bag of bones, but this just feels right. Consider it my good deed for the day. He gave Nick a three-fingered Boy Scout salute. Remember what I said in my letter, how we're all blessed, how it's never too late to become a good person? I really believe that, I do. So settle in, relax. There's the shower. You'll find towels and soap right through there. Clean up, get comfortable, and we'll grab some dinner. Now, I've got a diaper to change.